Pick a move in the ring. You can hit me with a word you fling.
Okay, Nicholas Atkin here, South China Morning Post. Joining me now is Hua Fung Teh, the group president and the co-founder of One Championship. It's great to talk to you. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Great to be here, Nick. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, we got over some technical issues there in the beginning, but we're all good now. You've been a busy man. You've just come back from Qatar, where you have signed an MOU with Qatar Media City to basically bring One Championship events to Qatar, possibly later this year. Tell me about it.
Yes.
What's going on?
Yeah, listen. So and I saw the article this morning. Thanks for that. No, I just landed from Qatar. Spent a couple of days there. The Singapore president, Madam President Halimah Yacob, was also there on a state visit. So we timed the MOU signing to coincide with her visit. And obviously, I updated her and her delegation. They're all very excited. Basically, look, this is an MOU to bring, our live events to Qatar. We have a long relationship now with Qatar, spanning about 1 to 2 years. Well, I guess long is relative, right? It definitely feels long because I've been there so many times. The Qatar Investment Authority led, the last round in the company about 18 months ago. And very soon we signed a deal with beIN Sports, as you're aware, to carry our content in the Middle East. We've also entered an MOU last year with Qatar Media City. That was signed at the Qatar Economic Forum. And that was a wide-ranging MOU involving collaboration in a variety of areas. So this MOU that was just signed a couple of days ago is an extension of that, and it involves us collaborating with Media City to bring our international live martial arts events to Qatar. And you are right, the first event is expected to be in Doha, and it could happen as soon as this year.
Can you give me a rough idea? A month, October, November, December. Are you coming back next year? How many events do you want to do overall in Qatar next year?
Yeah, listen, so I think timing, is something we're still working on for now. I think we want to focus on that first event, making sure it's successful. And look, I'm sure it won't be the only one, right, that happens within the next 12, 18 months, But right now, I think both teams are very focused on this first event. Preparations are underway. And when more news becomes available, I'm sure you'll be one of the first to hear it.
Well, that sounds good to me. I know you've been working on this for a while. I saw you were at the opening game of the 2022 World Cup in Qatar with Chatri. I had a feeling something was up when I saw you guys there.
Yeah, listen, look, Qatar, like I said, Qatar, and I mentioned this actually recently in another interview, Qatar is almost like a home away from home now. The Qataris have been very warm and hospitable. They've been great to work with. The folks at Media City, our existing partners, following the MOU that we signed last year with them at last year's Qatar Economic Forum, we actually produced, part of the Apprentice One Championship Edition Season 2 in Doha. And obviously the partnership with beIN Sports is going great. So look, there's multiple things happening in Qatar, but really we view Qatar as a launch pad for the Middle East. The Middle East is a really interesting market for us. The GCC countries alone, account for about 60 million people. You throw in countries like Egypt, alone, they have 100 million people. It's a young population, digitally savvy. So really, really interesting market for us, right? So yes, we're doing a lot in Qatar. We have a lot of partners in Qatar, but Qatar is really a window for us into the Middle East market. The other thing I'd say about the Middle East market that's pretty interesting is it's very close in time zone to Europe, right? So whatever we do in the Middle East, will likely have relevance for us in Europe as well, because physical events that are happening in that part of the world will be enjoyed prime time as well, right, by our European fans. So there's a lot of interesting things that I think will happen in the next call it 12, 18 months in that general part of the world.
Yeah, maybe you can help me out, because I asked Chatri, the CEO, after one Fight Night 11 in Bangkok earlier this month. He said that numbered events are coming back. We haven't seen one since Manila in December, but is this going to be the return of the numbered events in Doha? He hinted that it might be. So what's going on? Is it going to be Asia prime time or what?
Yeah. Well, look, I think today we're already pretty unique in that we are probably the only global sports property in the top 5, top 10 in the world that have events that cater to two different, complete different time zones. Today we have about 60 events a year Some of those, as you pointed out, pertain to an Asian, primetime audience. But the One Fight Night series today pertains to a U.S. primetime audience. And the first of those U.S. primetime events, as you may be aware, just happened in Denver, right, about a month ago. One Fight Night 10. So look, I think be it numbered events, be it specific pay-per-view events, for instance, right? Like there's a whole range of event formats that are currently being discussed. And some of those are going to be part of the 60 that I mentioned. Some of them will go beyond the 60. But what is very clear is that, look, we have fans all over the world, and we want to make sure that we are available for our fans in their prime time, because that's when most sports viewing happens.
And how significant is this expansion? You've got, as you mentioned, Denver, the US expansion going on. Now we've got Middle East. One taking over the world. Is that the plan?
I wouldn't go as far as to say we're taking over the world. I think, look, we're just going to where there is an opportunity. The U.S., as I, myself and Chatri have mentioned before, is the world's largest and most sophisticated sports market. I think, One Fight Night 10 in Denver proved that we have a right to win. I think before Denver, we always knew we had a right to play. We had fans, and a lot of our fans and partners, including Prime Video, had been badgering us, right, to come to the U.S. And I think post-Denver, that was completely sold out, broke all our records on Amazon Prime Video. We're highly convicted now that we have not just a right to play, but a right to win. So there will be multiple events happening in the U.S. next year. The Middle East, once again, I think ever since Qatar Investment Authority invested in us, we've obviously built deeper and deeper networks in Qatar and that part of the world. We have started first with The Apprentice in Doha, and now we're going to continue that expansion with a live event. And look, I think it's great that we have beIN Sports as a partner, because everything we do now in that part of the world will have a live broadcast, right, in their time zone. So look, I think we're just going to where the opportunity is. The nice thing is that martial arts as a sport, as a discipline, is widely loved, by fans all over the world. It may come from Asia, but it has been successfully exported everywhere around the world. You walk around the streets of New York, you walk around the streets of London, you walk around Doha, right, that I was just in 12 hours ago, you will see a martial arts gym, you will see a dojo, you will see a kickboxing school, right? So I think the good news for us is martial arts is widely loved, it is widely accepted, it's widely practiced, right? So wherever we go, there's always a ready fan base. So I think right now the focus is, hey, where is the immediate market opportunity? Where is it that fans really want us to come to? And that's where we're going to take, our operation.
Will this see an influx of talent from the region into one championship as well? Are you going to be looking at more regional athletes to complement your roster, which is largely still Asian at the moment, but you have been bringing Americans in, South Americans, Europeans. It is growing, yeah. Well,
I would say, look, at the start of the journey, yes, I think that the roster was a little bit more Asian, but that's changed drastically. If you look at our world champions today, they come from all over the world, right? Demetrius Johnson is American, Rainer de Ridder is from the Netherlands, Jonathan Haggerty is British. We're talking about a global roster today. So in terms of relevance, I think we have the athletic assets today, right? These are the top, fighters in the world. Many of them were already world champions in their respective martial art, be it BJJ, be it Muay Thai, before joining one. So in terms of the local relevance or the nationalities of the athletes that we have, we're already international. But of course, the more that we do in certain parts of the world, like the U.S., like the Middle East, we will naturally, get more inbound interest from athletes in that part of the world. But look, Nick, I'll tell you this, right? The reality is that today, if you are in this game, you are in this sport, and you desire an international, big international career, there's kind of two places you can go to. There's us and the UFC. You've seen the numbers, you've seen the Nielsen report, right? The top 10 sports properties in the world, the only 2 combat sport properties are us and the UFC. So if you are looking to build, if you're an athlete in this game and you're looking to build a big, international career, these are the 2 organizations. And the UFC, all respect to them, they also, right, have a very, very good, global roster.
Okay, and I have to ask you, you could say no comment, but is it going to be Mighty Mouse Demetrius Johnson against Mikey Musumeci in Doha? That's what the birds
That's a good idea. That's an interesting idea.
I think Chatri sort of leaked it accidentally on a Facebook Live, but that seems to be one that's in the works. Any other fights you could tease for us either?
Yeah. Well, look, I will tell you this, right? We do take pride in being one of the most innovative, if not the most innovative, promotion in combat sport We have shown that in terms of matchmaking, we like to mix it up. I mean, you saw Mighty Mouse go against Raw Tang, right, in the mixed rules the mixed rules fight. So yeah, I think what you mentioned is highly possible. But given the athletic assets we have, like I said, international, different disciplines, not just MMA, but kickboxing, grappling, submission grappling, Muay Thai, etc. Given the variety of martial arts we have on offer, there's definitely a lot of different matchmaking combinations that we can play with. So you're right. In short, I don't want to comment too much for now, but the innovation that you saw with the mixed rules, the fight that we did with DJ and Raw Tang, we certainly are looking to continue to innovate, in that space.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me today, Hua Fung. It's been a pleasure to break this news and to get your input on it. And can't wait to see One Championship in Qatar, maybe hopefully later this year. It'll be amazing to see one break new ground. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you so much, Nick. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Dom Lau here from One Championship. You are tuned into the best damn martial arts news outlet anywhere in Asia. SCMP Martial Arts, baby. Give them a follow.